hearing this evolving news that Kevin Durant has asked to be traded out of Brooklyn, and this is how it all happened. Our Adrian Wojnarowski reporting that Phoenix and Miami, they're among the teams that Kevin Durant has on his wish list. Of course, it needs to be mutual. You can see the details there. 4 years left on his contract. No shortage of teams willing to trade for him. And then, more according to our Woj, Kevin Durant and Kyrie, they did not have contact with the franchise after Irving opted into his deal on Monday, and there was a sense of inevitability that existed that Durant would eventually ask for a trade. Then that trade request was made directly to the Nets owner, Joe Tsai. That was earlier today. So that's how we got in the room where it happened. This is where we stand now, bringing back in our front office insider, Bobby Marks, and senior writer and reporter, Brian Windhorst. And Brian, I want to start with you here because one of the dominoes of Kevin Durant is Kyrie Irving. Where could he end up?
About seeing you in the fall. I would say that's not going to be happening now. I would say that Kevin Durant leaving also means Kyrie Irving will be leaving, if not sooner. So as I've talked to league executives over the last couple of hours, they believe that the price for Kyrie Irving is going down, down, down. Because before, when the Nets were considering trades, they had to consider keeping the team at a certain level with Durant. Now that Durant is very likely going to be off the team, the price for Kyrie Irving, especially in a rental situation, where he's only going to be likely with this team possibly for only 1 year, is going to drop. And that is going to open up more opportunities than we saw even a couple of days ago when teams weren't interested in paying the price for him. So from what I am told, definitely look for the Los Angeles Lakers. They were interested when he was going to potentially be a free agent.
Yep.
They would be interested now. The only trade that makes sense, really, unfortunately, is for Russell Westbrook. And that trade would add $11 million to the Nets payroll and potentially cause other issues. And that would potentially mean that the Lakers would have to incentivize the trade with draft picks, which may be a challenge. But I've also been told to keep an eye on the LA Clippers. Now, I know that they just signed John Wall and that they look like they're set at the point guard position. But it's possible that the price would potentially be so low that the Clippers would have to at least revisit the concept. Ty Lue was Kyrie's coach in Cleveland. They left on bad terms, but I have been told that that is no longer considered an issue. I would think it's probably a long shot that the Clippers would want to do that, but I have been told to take an eye on it. Also, I've been told that the Dallas Mavericks may kick the tires on this deal. Now, I know that the Dallas may not come out and say that, but I have been told that is something they will at least kick. Now, these are teams that were on Kyrie's quote-unquote list that Woj reported earlier this week that he would want to go to. Dallas, remember, is now losing Jalen Brunson. Dallas is in a talent loss that they need to put next to Luka Doncic. But I think there's going to be a little bit more teams sniffing around Kyrie because I really think if you think Kevin Durant's not going to go for value, just wait till you.
I'm trying to decipher. Kyrie Irving just tweeted a GIF. Is it GIF or GIF? What did we decide? It's GIF. Of a bird flying out of a cage. This is the level that we are at right now. So let's just set that aside for one hot second. And Dave, what progress has actually been made toward a marriage between Kyrie and the Lakers?
Checking in with Lakers sources, they believe that the domino that needs to fall first in Brooklyn is finding a trade partner for Kevin Durant.
Sure.
And until that occurs, the Kyrie Irving conversations will kind of be put on the back burner. Now, when Stephen A. puts stuff out there like, Kyrie's doing everything he can to end up in L.A., that serves two purposes. It can suppress the market for other teams that are out there in terms of what they would be willing to offer because no one wants to have a malcontent join their operation, to certainly not give up assets that have any sort of value in order to get him on a rental, especially a rental in a situation where he doesn't want to be there. And so that can actually help the Lakers' pursuit of Kyrie in the meantime because it makes their offer look better. Now, what can the Lakers offer? We know it's Russell Westbrook. It's the 2027 first-round pick, potentially the 2029 first-round pick. The other piece they have available is Talen Horton-Tucker. And obviously, Talen didn't have a great year last year, a lot of injuries, but he's a young, talented guard who can get into the lane, has some length defensively. And if you are a Brooklyn team going into a rebuild, that can have some value there. And perhaps it could lead to a bigger type of deal where the Lakers not only get a guy like Kyrie Irving, but what about Joe Harris? Lakers need some shooters, right? And Joe Harris has his own injury.
That would change the game.
Yeah, has his own injury problems right now, but when healthy, This guy gets some shots.
What do you think of that, Rich?
No, I like it. We know what the Lakers need, and what they didn't have LeBron James's first year, and what they didn't, and then they won it in 2020. Their first year, they didn't have shooting. They had a ton of talent, a bunch of young players, but they didn't have shooting. Next year, they get Anthony Davis. They add some shooting. They add some pieces. Guys develop, like Alex Caruso came out of nowhere, Kyle Kuzma. So they needed those athletic wings. That's what they've brought in. They've brought in some kind of utility guys. And now, if you can add in a guy that can actually shoot, and it's not even just the ability to knock down a shot, it's just the fear of it.
Yep.
They need the fear of it, and that's what they were missing last year with Russell Westbrook. And in that pick and roll with AD, they're like, hey, we're going to stay close to AD, blah, blah, blah. And even AD struggled to shoot. So adding any threat of shooting on that team, I think, goes a long way.
Plus, Darvin runs a 4-out system. You can't run a 4-out system unless you have shooters. It just won't work.
Yeah, and we saw that in Milwaukee.
Surrounding LeBron with shooters. Has any
Anyone
team
thought
thought
of
of this yet in LeBron's career? Look, the KD angle is big because if whatever Brooklyn does with Durant involves DeAndre Ayton getting signed and traded to them, or any player getting signed and traded to them, they need to cut a lot of money to get under the hard cap, which you're not allowed to go over if you get a guy in a sign and trade. And part of that will be turning Kyrie Irving's salary slot into something much less than $36 million or whatever his option number is. Obviously, Russ makes more than $36 million, so that becomes problematic too. So everything is kind of lumped together. And look, we just seem to be going towards this Russ and 1 or 2 first-round picks for Kyrie, because I just don't think there's anything else out there for Kyrie unless the nuclear option is if the Nets get really desperate and need to cut money to fit something under a hard cap, would they ever buy him out? And if they bought him out, he gets to then choose wherever he wants to go.
I don't know if he's going. And first of all, shout out to our guy Big Perk. They shout out to my guy Big Perk. No, I'm just
He asked the buyout question.
He asked the buyout question. I didn't know there was some chalk.
question.
There was some chalk on his knuckles. My point
We'll get you some lotion.
My point is that we know that they do not want, ideally, Kyrie to be in that locker room on opening night. So that means, and I'm just saying, like, well, just come here and play in the Nets locker room. I think that just the energy, I think for both sides, I think everyone's looking for what they're going to do. So if you're looking at that, it's like, we don't want him there. How can we allow for us to either get a piece or else to move out? The bird is out of the cage. Is that what it is? The bird is out of the cage?
I can't play.
I can't. I'm not where. I can't
even know. I don't even know if it's GIF.
What does that mean, Perk? What does that mean?
I don't know.
Like it's got some countries.
Y'all not tired of trying to figure out Kyrie or even understand Kyrie? Here's the thing. If I'm the Nets, I don't even do Kyrie Irving a favor. Like, I trade Kyrie Irving wherever the hell I want to trade him. Who's ever going to give me the best piece back that's going to benefit us? I feel like the Brooklyn Nets, they could work hand in hand with Kevin Durant. They don't have to do that with Kyrie. Kyrie didn't do nothing that they wanted him to do. He disrespected them. Why should they do him any favors?
But making a move out of spite won't help them in the long term, especially if they are